The bracelet slid across my desk like a silver snake, landing between my keyboard and coffee mug. A delicate thing with sapphires that caught the fluorescent office lights, making tiny blue stars dance on my computer screen. I'm Rowan, and until that moment, I thought I understood the rules of my marriage. "Special delivery for you," said Marcus from IT, already walking away. Left at reception. The note inside the velvet box read, "For all the sacrifices." No signature. The handwriting wasn't Liam's. My husband's scrawl looked like a doctor's prescription pad had a fight with a tornado. This was elegant, purposeful. I checked my phone. No messages from Liam about surprise gifts. Strange, considering we'd just had another argument about cutting back on expenses last night. His freelance work had been slow, he'd said, while I carried most of our financial burden. "That's gorgeous," Kelly from marketing whispered, peering over my cubicle wall. "Anniversary?" Something like that. I slipped the bracelet back into its box, my stomach churning. The price tag was still attached, $3,200, more than our monthly mortgage payment. I called Liam, straight to voicemail. "Hey, got an interesting delivery today. Call me when you can?" My fingers hovered over the keyboard, tempted to Google the jewelry store name embossed on the box. Instead, I pulled up our joint bank account. The balance mocked me, barely enough to cover next week's bills. No mysterious withdrawals for expensive jewelry. My phone buzzed, a text from Liam. "In a meeting, what delivery?" I snapped a photo of the bracelet and sent it. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "Must be promo gift from old client. Lucky you." The lie sat there, bold as brass. Liam hadn't had any major clients in months. He'd been networking, spending afternoons at coffee shops with his laptop, coming home with vague stories about potential projects. "Everything okay?" Kelly was still watching me, concern etched on her face. "Fine." I forced a smile, just trying to remember if I thanked the sender. My phone buzzed again. Liam. "Don't wear it to dinner tonight. Mom's sensitive about expensive gifts lately." I hadn't even mentioned dinner with his mother. Another piece of information he'd conveniently forgotten to share. The bracelet felt heavier now, weighted with unspoken questions. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of meetings and deadlines, but my mind kept circling back to those sapphires. Who sends a married woman jewelry? Who had Liam been meeting in those coffee shops? And why did he want me to hide it from his mother? At 5, I packed up my laptop, the velvet box burning a hole in my bag. Instead of heading home, I drove to the jewelry store listed on the box. The saleswoman's eyes lit up with recognition when I showed her the bracelet. Oh yes, the gentleman was very specific about the design. Said it had to be sapphires, his lady friend's birthstone. My birthday is in April. Diamonds. "When did he purchase this?" She checked her computer. "Last Wednesday. Paid in cash. Last Wednesday. While I was working late, trying to land a new client to boost our income, while Liam was supposedly at a networking event." My phone buzzed. Liam again. "Running late. Meet you at Mom's around 7?" I stared at the message, something cold and hard forming in my chest. The bracelet wasn't meant for me. It was never meant for me. Someone had redirected it, making sure it landed on my desk instead of around another woman's wrist. I texted back, "No problem. I'll wear my new bracelet. Your mother will love it." His response was immediate. "Don't." But I already knew I would. Sometimes the best revenge starts with a simple piece of jewelry and a family dinner. I smiled at the saleswoman. "Thank you. You've been very helpful." It was time to have dinner with my mother-in-law. Evelyn's dining room felt like a stage set for a play where nobody knew their lines. The bracelet caught the chandelier light as I reached for my wine glass, exactly as I'd intended. Liam's face twitched, a micro-expression of panic I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't been looking for it. "That's quite a beautiful piece," Grace said, her analyst's eyes missing nothing. "New?" "A gift," I replied, watching Liam drain his second glass of wine. Apparently from one of Liam's clients. Evelyn beamed, passing the potatoes. "Business must be picking up then. You've seemed so stressed about money lately." "Actually," I set down my fork, "I was hoping Liam could tell us more about this generous client. The jewelry store was quite interested in discussing the purchase. The silence stretched like warm taffy. Liam's knuckles went white around his wine glass. "I told you," he said, voice carefully controlled. "It was a thank you gift for that branding project." "Which project was that, dear?" Evelyn asked. "The one with the tech startup?" "No, different client." Liam stood abruptly. "Anyone need more wine?" Grace's eyes narrowed. "Funny, I thought you said last week that all your projects were on hold." "My sister-in-law, always the accountant, always tracking the numbers. I could kiss her." "Things change quickly in freelance," Liam muttered, disappearing into the kitchen. "Speaking of change," Grace continued, "I saw your car at the Grand Hotel last Tuesday. Thought about saying hello, but you seemed occupied." The potato in my mouth turned to ash. Tuesday, when Liam said he was meeting potential clients at a coffee shop. "The Grand?" Evelyn perked up. "That new luxury spa they opened there is divine, though the prices—" She whistled low. "You've been there, Mom?" Grace asked. "Oh no, couldn't afford it on a principal's pension. But my friend Margaret's daughter works there. Chloe something or other, event planner, always posting about their amenities on Facebook." My fork clattered against the plate. Liam, returning with wine, nearly dropped the bottle. "Chloe?" I tested the name, watching my husband's face. "Pretty name." "Common name," Liam said quickly. Too quickly. Grace's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then at me, something shifting in her expression. "Rowan, didn't you mention wanting to see those investment papers I found? For that side project?" I hadn't mentioned any such thing, but I recognized a lifeline when I saw one. "Yes, actually. Would now be a good time?" "Perfect time." Grace stood. "Mom, mind if we use your study?" In Evelyn's book-lined study, Grace closed the door and pulled out her phone. "I wasn't sure whether to show you this, but—" She pulled up a banking app. "I still have access to Liam's business accounts from when I helped with his taxes. Look at these transactions. Regular withdrawals. Large ones. All tagged consulting fees, but all in round numbers. All on Tuesday afternoons. How long?" My voice sounded distant, even to myself. 3 months. Started right after he landed that big corporate contract. Grace's face softened. "The one he said fell through. The contract that was supposed to solve our financial struggles. The one that had me working overtime to cover our bills while Liam networked and built his client base." "The Grand Hotel has a lovely event space," Grace continued carefully. "Perfect for a freelance graphic designer to meet with an event planner about potential collaborations." My fingers traced the sapphires on my wrist. "This wasn't meant for me, was it?" "No, but someone wanted you to get it." Grace squeezed my hand. "Question is, what are you going to do about it?" Through the study window, I could see Liam in the garden, pacing, phone to his ear. His gestures were agitated, defensive. Warning someone, perhaps, about an unexpected delivery gone wrong. "First," I said, unclasping the bracelet, "I'm going to return this. Then I'm going to find out exactly what services my husband's been consulting on at the Grand Hotel." Grace nodded, a sharp smile playing at her lips. "Need a financial analyst's help with that?" "Actually," I said, watching Liam through the window, "I think I need a sister's help. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served with family." The Grand Hotel's marble lobby gleamed like polished bones. Grace's friend at the front desk, carefully cultivated over a week of strategic coffee dates, gave us a subtle nod. We had exactly 47 minutes before Liam's standing Tuesday consultation. "Remember," Grace whispered, adjusting her visitor badge, "we're here to scout venues for my company's charity gala." The spa reception area reeked of lavender and lies. A wall of photos showcased their signature events. I stopped breathing when I saw it. Liam's distinctive design work on their latest brochure, the one he'd never mentioned. "Can I help you, ladies?" The receptionist's smile was professional, practiced. "We're meeting Chloe?" Grace's voice carried just the right amount of entitled expectation. "About the Morrison Foundation event?" "Oh, she's running a bit late. Feel free to wait in the lounge." The lounge offered a perfect view of both entrances. Grace pulled out her tablet, maintaining our cover while I watched the door. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, so I gripped my phone instead. "Those withdrawals," I said quietly. "The ones you tracked. How much total?" "Enough to cover our mortgage for a year." Grace's voice was flat. "He's been moving it through 3 different accounts to hide the trail." The click of heels on marble made us both look up. A woman in a fitted black dress strode past, all confidence and calculated grace. My stomach lurched. She wore an identical sapphire bracelet. "That's her," Grace confirmed unnecessarily. Chloe disappeared into an office, leaving behind a wake of expensive perfume and bitter reality. I started to stand, but Grace grabbed my wrist. "Wait for it." 3 minutes later, Liam walked in. My husband of 8 years, wearing the blue shirt I'd given him last Christmas, carrying the leather portfolio I'd helped him pick for client meetings. He didn't even glance around before following Chloe's path to the office. "Now what?" My voice sounded strange, distant. "Now we wait. Unless you'd rather—" The office door opened. Chloe emerged, followed by Liam, both heading toward the private elevator. His hand rested on the small of her back with familiar intimacy. "I need air." I stood abruptly, drawing curious glances. Grace followed me to the garden terrace, where I gripped the railing until my knuckles went white. A few feet away, through the glass doors, I could see Liam and Chloe stepping into the elevator, his arm now around her waist. "You knew," I said to Grace, "before the bracelet, before any of this." "I suspected. The numbers didn't add up." She touched my shoulder. "I needed proof before I told you. I'm sorry." My phone buzzed, a text from Liam. "Working late tonight. Big project deadline." Another buzz. "Don't wait up." The screen blurred as tears threatened to fall. I blinked them back, anger replacing pain. "I want to destroy him." "Rowan!" "No, listen. He's not just cheating. He's stealing. From our future. From our—" I stopped, the final betrayal hitting me like a physical blow. "The fertility treatments. The ones we couldn't afford." Grace's sharp intake of breath told me she'd made the same connection. The treatments we'd postponed because of Liam's temporary financial setback, while he funded his affair with our savings. My phone buzzed again. An email this time, from an anonymous account. "Thought you should see this." Attached were photos, Liam and Chloe at restaurants, hotels, jewelry stores. The timestamps went back months. "Someone's helping us," Grace said, reading over my shoulder. "Or setting us up." I straightened, a plan forming. "Either way, I'm done playing defense." "What are you thinking?" I watched the elevator numbers climb to the penthouse level, where the hotel's most expensive suites were located. "I'm thinking it's time to plan an event of our own. Something special. Something—" I smiled, cold and sharp. "Sacrificial." Grace's answering smile was equally predatory. "I know just the venue." Through the glass, I could see Chloe's bracelet catching the light as the elevator doors closed. Soon, she'd learn what happens when you wear another woman's sacrifice like a trophy. But first, I had a charity gala to plan. The anonymous emails kept coming, each one a digital dagger, time-stamped proof of Liam's betrayal. I spread them across my laptop screen like tarot cards, reading our future in megapixels and metadata. "You need to see this," Grace said, barging into my home office. She carried her tablet like a weapon. "I traced those consulting payments. They're not just going to the Grand." I minimized the photos. "What do you mean?" "There's a shell company, Phoenix Creative Solutions, registered 6 months ago." Grace's fingers flew across her tablet. "Guess who's listed as creative director?" The name hit me like a slap. Chloe Marshall. "They're business partners?" My voice cracked on the last word. "Partners in every sense." Grace pulled up a business registration. "And there's more. Remember that corporate contract Liam said fell through?" My stomach clenched. "The one that was supposed to save us from financial ruin?" "It didn't fall through. He redirected it to Phoenix Creative." Grace's expression hardened. "They're using your savings as startup capital." The room tilted sideways. All those extra hours I'd worked, the fertility treatments we'd postponed, the vacations canceled, funding their future while dismantling mine. My phone buzzed. Liam. "Working late again. Big pitch tomorrow." Before I could respond, another anonymous email arrived. This time with a video attachment, security footage from the Grand's lobby. Liam and Chloe, heads bent over paperwork, her hand on his arm. The timestamp. Right now. I need to go. I grabbed my keys. Rowan? Wait. But I was already moving, rage propelling me forward. The drive to the Grand passed in a blur of streetlights and scattered thoughts. I hadn't planned this confrontation, hadn't prepared my words or steeled my heart. The lobby was quiet at this hour. The same receptionist from before recognized me, started to speak, but I was already pushing through the doors to the business center. They sat at a corner table, papers spread between them like battle plans. Chloe's hand still rested on Liam's arm, her sapphire bracelet catching the light. My bracelet. Our money. So, this is your big pitch? My voice carried across the empty room. They jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Liam's face drained of color. Rowan, I can explain. Phoenix Creative Solutions? I picked up a proposal document, their joint logo mocking me from the header. Interesting name, rising from the ashes of our marriage? It's not what you think. Liam stood, hands raised like I was pointing a gun instead of papers. This is a business opportunity, built on lies. I turned to Chloe, who hadn't moved. Did he tell you about the fertility treatments we canceled, or did that money go straight into your startup? Something flickered across her face. Surprise? Guilt? Before her professional mask slipped back into place. This is a private business matter. Private? I laughed, the sound sharp enough to cut. Like those Tuesday afternoon consultations in the penthouse suite? Liam stepped forward. How did you... know? I pulled out my phone, displayed the anonymous emails. Seems someone thought I deserved the truth, unlike my husband. Those emails... Chloe's voice trailed off, her eyes widening with recognition. You know who sent them. It wasn't a question. She glanced at Liam, who had gone very still. Margaret's daughter, she whispered. From reception. I had to let her go last week. Of course. Evelyn's friend's daughter. The connection I'd missed. Rowan, Liam tried again. We can work this out. The business is taking off. Once we're profitable... I gathered their proposals, their precious plans. There is no we anymore, Liam. Just like there's no more joint savings account. His face changed. What did you do? What you taught me to do. I smiled, thinking of Grace's financial maneuvering. I protected my investments. I left them there, surrounded by their schemes and lies, knowing tomorrow would bring a different kind of revelation. Because while they'd been planning their future, Grace and I had been planning something else entirely. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about exposing lies. Sometimes it's about turning their own weapons against them. The Morrison Foundation gala invitation sat on my desk like a loaded gun. Grace had pulled strings, called in favors, and somehow managed to get Phoenix Creative Solutions hired as the event planners. They didn't know I was the anonymous client representative they'd been coordinating with for weeks. Everything's set, Grace said, reviewing the final arrangements. Chloe's planned quite the spectacle. Live streaming, press coverage, all their major clients attending. Perfect venue for a different kind of reveal. I touched the USB drive containing months of financial records, emails, and surveillance footage. Is the presentation ready? Locked and loaded. They won't see it coming. My phone lit up with Liam's message. Can we talk? About last night? Another message followed. I know I hurt you, but this business could change everything. Give me a chance to explain. Grace read over my shoulder. He's scared. Good. The gala was tomorrow night. Our chance to expose not just the affair, but the financial fraud that could destroy their precious Phoenix Creative before it truly launched. Yet something gnawed at me. What if we're becoming just like them? The question slipped out before I could stop it. They stole your future, Grace reminded me. Used your savings, your trust. I know. I stood, pacing. But this revenge, it feels like it's changing me. My office door opened. Kelly from marketing stood there, face pale. Rowan, you need to see this. She held up her tablet. On screen was Phoenix Creative's latest Instagram post. Chloe, wearing my bracelet, announcing their company's selection as the Morrison Foundation's exclusive event partner. The caption praised their unique vision and family values. My hands shook as I read the comments. Potential clients praising their work. Industry leaders offering congratulations. All built on stolen dreams and diverted funds. Family values, I whispered, something breaking loose inside me. That's what we're going with? I grabbed my keys. Grace caught my arm. Where are you going? To give Liam his chance to explain. The drive to his new apartment felt like crossing a boundary. He opened the door, surprise flickering across his face. Behind him, I caught glimpses of the life he'd built without me. Design mock-ups on the walls, Chloe's coat draped over a chair. Rowan, I saw the announcement. My voice stayed steady, surprising me. Congratulations on the Morrison account. That's what I wanted to discuss. He stepped back, letting me in. We could work together. Your marketing experience, our design work. Our? I picked up a framed photo of him and Chloe at some industry event. Like our savings? Our marriage? I know you're angry. I'm not angry, Liam. I set down the photo. I'm awake. His expression shifted. What does that mean? I pulled out my phone, showed him the gala invitation. I'll be there tomorrow night. Front row. You're attending? Something like fear crossed his face. Wouldn't miss it. I moved toward the door. After all, family should support family, right? Rowan, wait. But I was already gone, my decision crystallizing with each step. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about justice, about consequences, about showing the world the true cost of family values. Grace was waiting in my office when I returned. Well? I picked up the USB drive. Change of plans. We're not just exposing their fraud. What do you mean? I want everything public. The affair, the stolen money, the lies. I gripped the drive tighter. Let their precious clients see exactly who they're dealing with. It'll destroy them completely, Grace warned. No coming back from that kind of exposure. Good. I sat down, started typing. Because tomorrow night, Phoenix Creative isn't rising from any ashes. Sometimes revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about burning everything down and walking away from the flames. The gala invitation seemed to glow on my desk, no longer a weapon, but a promise. Tomorrow night, we'd all learn the true meaning of sacrifice. The Morrison Foundation gala sparkled like broken glass. I sat in the front row, watching Liam and Chloe work the crowd, their success built on the ruins of my trust. The USB drive felt heavy in my clutch, a digital bomb waiting to detonate. Grace touched my arm. 10 minutes until their presentation. Then Evelyn appeared, beaming with pride. Darling, why didn't you tell me you were involved with Phoenix Creative? Liam just said you're considering joining the team. My carefully constructed plan cracked. He what? Oh, was it supposed to be a surprise? Evelyn's face fell. He's announcing it during the presentation, said it's time to bring the family back together. The room tilted. Liam had outmaneuvered me, turning my revenge into his redemption story. I watched him approach the podium, Chloe at his side, both wearing matching smiles that didn't reach their eyes. He's trying to trap you, Grace whispered, make you look vindictive if you expose them now. The presentation began. Professional achievements, client testimonials, growth projections, all built on stolen dreams and diverted funds. My funds, our future. And now, Liam's voice carried across the ballroom, a special announcement. We're thrilled to welcome a new partner to Phoenix Creative. The screen behind him changed. My professional headshot appeared, along with my credentials. The audience applauded. Evelyn squeezed my hand. I stood, my chair scraping against the marble floor. The USB drive burned in my hand. One connection to the podium's laptop would expose everything. The affair, the fraud, the lies. But Liam's eyes met mine, challenging, almost pitying. Rowan has always believed in family, he continued smoothly. In second chances. In building something greater than ourselves. The crowd murmured appreciatively. I saw potential clients nodding, investors smiling. My revenge would now look like bitter rejection. professional suicide. Don't let him win, Grace urged. But Evelyn was crying happy tears. Other family members watched expectantly. Even Chloe managed to look hopeful, though the sapphire bracelet, my bracelet, glinted on her wrist like a taunt. I moved toward the podium, USB drive clutched tight. Liam extended his hand, camera flashes capturing what looked like a touching family reunion. "Say something," he whispered, still smiling for the cameras. I took the microphone, my hand steady despite the chaos in my chest. The audience waited, my carefully planned revenge balanced on a knife's edge. "Family," I started, my voice carrying across the silent room. It's a beautiful word, sacred, even. Liam's smile widened, victory in his eyes. "But true family," I continued, "doesn't steal from each other." His smile froze. True family doesn't take savings meant for fertility treatments and use them to fund affairs. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Evelyn's hand flew to her mouth. "True family," I held up the USB drive, "keeps receipts." "Rowan," Liam stepped forward, reaching for the microphone. "You're upset, I understand." "No," I pulled back. "You understand marketing, image, manipulation, but you never understood family." I turned to the audience, to the investors and clients they'd courted with stolen money and borrowed prestige. Phoenix Creative was built on fraud. I have proof. Bank statements, emails, security footage. Would anyone like to see? Chaos erupted. Investors stood, demanding answers. Journalists rushed forward, cameras flashing. Chloe disappeared into the crowd, already distancing herself from the implosion. "You've destroyed everything," Liam hissed, his mask finally cracking. "No." I placed the USB drive in his hand. "You did that yourself. I just refused to burn with you." I walked away, past the shouting investors, past the stunned family members, past the life I thought I wanted. Grace followed, her silence supportive. Outside, the night air felt clean, purifying. My phone buzzed with notifications, news alerts already picking up the story, professional contacts reaching out, family members expressing shock and support. "Now what?" Grace asked. I looked back at the glittering ballroom, where Liam's carefully constructed facade was crumbling in real time. "Now," I said, "we rise." The morning after the gala, I found Liam waiting on my doorstep, clutching a newspaper. The headline screamed, "Phoenix Creative Scandal, Startup Built on Stolen Dreams." "You've ruined us," his voice cracked. "The investors are pulling out. Chloe's gone." "Karma's expensive, isn't it?" I moved to step past him. He grabbed my arm. "I can fix this. We can fix this. I'll pay back everything." "With what money?" Grace emerged from her car, tablet in hand. "The accounts are frozen. The authorities have questions about certain financial irregularities." Liam's face drained of color. "What did you do?" "Me?" I pulled free. "I just followed the money. Your sister did the rest." Grace held up her tablet, displaying a complex web of transactions. "Funny thing about fraud, it leaves breadcrumbs, especially when you're sloppy with the paperwork." "You helped me with those accounts," Liam snarled at Grace. I knew you were hiding something. That's why I kept records." She smiled coldly. "Family looking out for family, right?" My phone buzzed. Evelyn calling again. I'd been dodging her since last night. "Mom's devastated," Liam said. "Is that what you wanted? To destroy our whole family?" "Don't you dare!" My voice shook. "Don't you dare use her against me. You did this. Every lie, every stolen dollar, every broken promise. That was you. I did it for us. The business was our chance." "Our chance?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "While I was working overtime to afford fertility treatments, you were building a future with someone else, using my sacrifices to fund your escape. It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I pulled out my phone, played the recording from the Grand Hotel. His voice, intimate and clear. "Once Phoenix takes off, we'll have everything we dreamed of. Just us." He flinched at his own words. "Did Chloe know?" Grace asked. "About the fertility treatments?" Liam faltered. "It wasn't relevant." "Wasn't relevant?" Something snapped inside me. Like our marriage wasn't relevant? Like my dreams weren't relevant? I loved you, he whispered. No, you loved what I could give you. My trust, my money, my silence. I opened my front door. But that's not love. That's theft. The police want to talk to you, Grace added. Something about misappropriation of funds, fraud, maybe worse. Liam's facade cracked completely. You can't do this. I'll lose everything. Funny. I stepped inside. That's exactly how I felt when I found out about Phoenix, about Chloe, about every lie you told while stealing our future. Rowan, please. The difference is, I turned back one last time. I didn't lose everything. I just lost the dead weight that was dragging me down. What do you want from me? His voice broke. Nothing. The truth of it hit me like sunrise. Not anymore. I closed the door on his protests, on the past, on the woman who had once believed in second chances and family above all. Grace followed me inside. Chloe's lawyer called. She's offering to testify about the financial misconduct in exchange for immunity. I sank onto my couch, suddenly exhausted. Of course she is. Are you okay? Through the window, I watched Liam walk away, shoulders slumped, newspaper crumpled in his fist. The man I'd married, the future I'd planned, the dreams I'd sacrificed for, all as insubstantial as morning mist. You know what's strange? I said finally. I thought revenge would feel like winning, but it just feels like freedom. Grace sat beside me, her presence steady and sure. Sometimes they're the same thing. My phone buzzed again. Evelyn. This time I answered, because sometimes freedom means facing the aftermath of the fire you've started. And sometimes from those ashes, something stronger rises. The sapphire bracelet caught the morning light as I placed it on Evelyn's kitchen table. She stared at it, hands wrapped around her untouched coffee mug. I thought you might want to return it, I said, since it came from your son's business account. No, she pushed it back toward me. Keep it, as a reminder. Of what? Betrayal? Revenge? Of your worth. Her voice carried the weight of her former principal's authority. Sometimes the most expensive lessons are the ones we didn't want to learn. Through the window, I watched Grace talking to the forensic accountants in the driveway. The investigation into Phoenix Creative had revealed more victims, other stolen dreams, other diverted funds. Chloe had turned state's evidence, painting herself as another victim of Liam's manipulation. Did you read his letter? Evelyn asked. I nodded. Liam's final attempt at explanation sat unopened in my purse, his familiar handwriting now strange and distant. Are you going to open it? No. The certainty in my voice surprised us both. Some stories don't need an ending. My phone buzzed. Another news alert about the case. Liam's face stared back from the screen, haunted and hollow as he left the courthouse. The media loved the story. Ambitious entrepreneur brought down by his scorned wife and sister. Phoenix Creative burning in spectacular fashion. You know, Evelyn said carefully, revenge doesn't usually bring peace. This wasn't about revenge. Not really. I touched the bracelet's clasp. It was about truth, about consequences. And are you at peace? Before I could answer, Grace burst in, waving documents. You need to see this. We found something in the old accounts. She spread papers across the table, bank statements, transfer records, a trail of breadcrumbs leading to an unexpected destination. He didn't spend all the fertility treatment money, Grace explained. He invested it, under your name. The investment had grown, quietly accumulating value while we'd torn everything else apart. Ironic, isn't it? I laughed, but the sound caught in my throat. He actually did save for our future, just not the one we planned. What will you do with it? Evelyn asked. Through the window, I watched the forensic team pack up their files. Evidence of lives derailed, dreams deferred, trust broken, and rebuilt. I'm starting a foundation, I said, for families struggling with fertility treatments, people who've had to choose between their dreams and their dignity. Grace smiled. Phoenix Rising? No. I picked up the bracelet, its sapphires no longer burning with betrayal, but shimmering with possibility. New Dawn Foundation, because some things deserve a fresh start. He asked about you, Evelyn said quietly, before they took him away. And what did you tell him? That sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone else's future, it's building your own. My phone buzzed again, the fertility clinic confirming my appointment to discuss options. Single motherhood, donor programs, different paths to the same dream. Keep the bracelet, I told Evelyn, standing to leave. Sell it, donate it. Let it help someone else's sacrifice mean something. She caught my hand. You're still family, you know, no matter what. I know. I squeezed her hand. Just a different kind than we planned. Outside, Grace waited by her car, already reviewing foundation proposals. The morning sun painted everything in new light, turning past shadows into future possibilities. I didn't look back at the bracelet on Evelyn's table, didn't need to. Some sacrifices become stepping stones. Some betrayals become bridges. And sometimes, the future we fight for isn't the one we originally wanted, but the one we needed all along. My phone buzzed one last time, another letter from Liam, digital this time. I deleted it unread. Some stories don't need an ending. They just need a new beginning. 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 They just need a